Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you my November wrap-up. In the month of November, I read 4 books, which probably doesn't sound like much, but I tend to average around 4 books a month, and I'm completely happy with that. I did read like 8 books in October, so I don't think it's surprising that the month after a really good reading month, I would read less because I can't keep up that speed all the time. I actually think that starting with my December wrap-up, I'm going to start doing vlog-style updates on books as I finish them. I've been seeing a lot of reading vlogs going around, which I love. I love watching reading vlogs. They're so fun, and I kind of did my own version of reading vlogs at the beginning of this year. I was calling it my Currently Reading series, where I was posting one video a week and talking about all the books that I read that week in a vlog-style format, but that was a lot of work for me, and when I'm only posting one video a week, I really couldn't do videos like that, but I really enjoyed like that candid style of talking about my thoughts on a book right after I finish it. What I'm going to do differently is try to only check in at the beginning and the end of a book, maybe at the midpoint if I have something specific to say. But in a lot of my Currently Reading videos, I would just constantly update you guys. I was able to just talk about the books as I was reading them. So I'm hoping that for these vlog style monthly wrap-ups, I can kind of keep my check-ins a little shorter and more to the point so the video doesn't get too long. I've been seeing Julie from Pages and Pens do this, and that's what kind of gave me the idea, and I love it because it's a combination of like a reading vlog and a monthly wrap-up. I do find monthly wrap-ups to be a little intimidating to film. I have to be able to talk about each book so concisely, and a lot of times it's a while after I finish the book, so I'm like taking notes, and so I think doing these vlog style monthly wrap-ups will be a good like happy medium for me. We'll give it a try for a couple months and see how it goes at least. Anyways, on to the books that I read in the month of November. I had a pretty good reading month as far as ratings. I rated one book 2.5 stars, I rated one book 3 stars, and I had 2 5-star reads. First half of this month, I was kind of struggling. I didn't finish anything until about halfway through the month, and the first book that I finished was Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I was reading Salem's Lot as part of the Spooktober group read-along book. I had never read a Stephen King book before, or at least I thought I hadn't, so I was excited for an excuse to pick up one of his books. As I was reading Salem's Lot, I realized that I have actually read, I don't know, maybe half of The Stand years and years ago, and I moved that summer, and after I moved, I had actually read a couple books that I ended up putting down and never picking back up again. Anyways, you guys don't need to know about my thoughts on The Stand, which I guess you do now though. I might go back to it one day, I'm not totally ruling it out. Anyways, back to Salem's Lot. This book was really long, and it was honestly really boring. I wasn't really a fan of most of the characters in this book. They were all just kind of bland and generic. They don't really reveal what's going on in this town until halfway through the book, so I think technically it's a spoiler. If you want to know what this book is about, go read some Goodreads review, because plenty of Goodreads reviews mention what is going on with this town, and for some people that might make it a more compelling read, but I've read lots of books with this type of monster in it. I can say that, right? I'm gonna say that. But I've read a lot of books with this kind of monster in it, and this is definitely not the best one that I've read. If you're not a person who likes lots of different perspectives in a book, I would say stay away from Stephen King, because I think all of his books are that way. And the way that it ended, I was like, really? That's the ending? It just felt like a lot of time spent reading for a very mediocre book. So I ended up giving this 2.5 stars. I did rate it a 3 on Goodreads, since we can't do half-star ratings. I just think it was a very middle-of-the-road, mediocre book that I didn't get a lot of enjoyment out of, but at the same time, it wasn't necessarily like written badly. I think people who like Stephen King might like this. It definitely let me down because, you know, I've heard so much about how amazing Stephen King is. Maybe this isn't the one to start out with because it just fell flat for me. Okay, so the second book that I read this month was This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. I just posted my video review of this a few days ago. It's my first like standalone book review that I've done on my channel, but I absolutely loved this book and I really wanted to gush about it. So if you haven't checked out that video, I will link it for you because I definitely go into detail on why I love this book so much. This Mortal Coil is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi book dealing with a virus outbreak, and it's set in a world where technology has advanced to the point point where computer programming and genetics have combined and people are able to change things about their genes using gene hacking. I love this book so much. It was very fast paced. There's lots of plot twists. So if you like a book that's going to keep you on your toes and keep you guessing, I definitely recommend this one. If you like virus outbreak stories, post-apocalyptic settings, there's even a slow burning romance. One of the big reasons I love this book so much was because how good the science was. A lot of this book is just based on real science, and the author was able to weave in like real life scenarios that are related to the science into the book, and I really loved it. If the synopsis of this book sounds interesting to you at all, definitely check it out. Check out my review. Most of it is spoiler free, but that's all I want to say about this book because otherwise I'm gonna just talk forever. And then the next book that I finished in the month of November was the fourth book in the Wheel of Time series, which is called The Shadow Rising. This series is by Robert Jordan. I talked about it a lot on my channel, and I actually have a really exciting announcement related to this series that I'm going to be announcing next week, so stay tuned for that video. I've had a really hard time reviewing these books in these wrap-ups because obviously they're all sequels to the first book in the series, but I did write down a few things that I feel like I can say about this book specifically that is like not spoilers. As many of you know, this is a reread for me, so at this point in this reread, this fourth book is one of my favorites out of the series because it has one of the most memorable battle scenes out of the whole series. It's just a really fun one. Another reason why I really like this fourth installment is that there are some really big reveals that happen in this book that kind of click a lot of things into place, and I loved going through that reveal. I actually re-listened to that scene twice because one, it's a little bit confusing on audio, but two, because I just wanted to relive making those puzzle connections. There's also, you know, plenty more characters who are not who they seem to be that I recognized for who they really were because I've read more of the series, and that's always so fun for me on reread to like know exactly who a person is and what their role is later in the series. And the last thing that I loved about this book is that we get an expansion on one of my favorite storylines in this series. One of the main characters from the first book goes back to his hometown village, and there's like stuff going on there, and that is like one of my favorite storylines throughout this whole series. And this is the first book where we actually get to go there and start doing things. I know that's kind of vague and sounds weird, but it made me really happy to spend time with this character back in his hometown, and I'm excited for all the things that are going to happen in that storyline in the upcoming books. I hope I'm making the series sound exciting and interesting because, well, you'll just have to see in my announcement next week. Can I pretend that I'm elbowing somebody? Hint, hint. Okay, last but not least, the final book that I finished in the month of November was End of Days by Susan E. This is the last book in the Penrent and the End of Days series. I'm sad to say that it was a little bit of a disappointment. I was kind of prepared for that though because I'd read and seen reviews of people saying that the last book was really rushed and just not really all that well executed, and I could agree with that. I really enjoyed getting back into the world and getting to spend time with these characters again. I still love Penryn with all my heart. She is a badass bitch and really like watches out for herself and watches out for her family, and I love that. There are just a few plot things that happened in this book that I was like, what? That I wasn't quite convinced about them. I don't know, I just didn't love some of the things that happened in this book, but honestly I really loved the very end. So as a book as a whole, I can't say I loved the ending, but I loved how everything resolved. Wasn't happy with some of the things that like led up to how it resolved, but as far as like how it actually ended, I liked it. I really did. Yes, there were some things about this last book that I didn't love, but overall I'm still really glad I read the series. I gave End of Days 3.5 out of 5 stars, which I did round down to 3 stars on Goodreads. Okay, so those were all the books that I read in the month of November and what I thought about them. If you've read any of these books, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you guys think about vlog style wrap-ups and if you think that would be a good thing or not a good thing. Let me know down in the comment section. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish content. I post videos once a week, although in the month of December I am posting 2 videos a week. That's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye. I'm sure you've heard on a fantastic month I read 8 months. I just posted my video is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi book. It was so it was very fast-paced or post-apocalyptic. Bye.